ABB Sverige och jag har glädjen och äran att få vara moderator för mötet idag. Och det är så roligt att många kommer och lyssnar på oss och vad vi har för oss på ABB. Igår så var det den ordinarie stämman i Zürich och det var 1000 personer som kom och de röstade också igenom alla förslag som styrelsen hade lagt. Aktieutdelningen beslutades att bli 0,65 schweizerfranc, vilket då motsvarar idag uträknad 4,81 kronor. Och det är fastställt alltså med dagens kurs. Innan vi kör igång mötet så vill jag informera kort om 2 punkter. Vi på ABB tycker att det här med hälsa och säkerhet är väldigt viktigt. Och på våra interna möten så börjar vi alltid med att tala om vad nödutgångar och sånt finns. Och jag vill såklart göra samma sak.
I'm very happy to be back here. I think the last time I had the opportunity to participate to this event was 3 years ago. So I'm delighted to be back and also quite happy to have brought along a little bit of the Zurich Spring, which I understand you have been missing quite a lot here. So hopefully it will be lasting. Today I would like to speak to you about 3 topics. First, to review the financial performance of ABB during 2011. I would like also to give you a little bit of an update of the first quarter results that we announced 2 days ago. And then finally, the most important part of my presentation will be to take you through our new strategy that we unveiled at our Capital Market Day back in November. And I thought it was good to share a little bit more with you what are the major trends that we see happening in our business. So starting first with 2011, I would say overall it was a great year for us. ABB has done very well on many fronts. First of all, in terms of financial performance, we have increased our orders and revenues in the double-digit area. We have increased our profit quite a lot, as well as our operating margin. We generated a lot of cash, so pretty good from all these benchmarks. On top of that, it has been a very active year. We have made quite a number of acquisitions, the most important being Baldor, a US company that we acquired for $4 billion. We also, as you know, made an acquisition here in Sweden, Lorentzen and Vettre. So we have really been spreading ourselves in the different areas of the world. And finally, we also increased quite a lot of investment for the future in R&D, in selling, and that is also showing the confidence that we have in the future, confidence that I think we can afford, because still today, despite all these acquisitions, we have in fact a very strong balance sheet, and that really allows us to look at the future with quite some optimism. If we go a little bit more in the numbers, we have beaten 2 records in 2011. For the first time, we reached an order intake of $40 billion, which is an increase of 18%. If we adjust for acquisitions, what we call organic, it was an organic growth of 11%. And let's remember that this was not exactly an easy economic climate last year, so I think it shows the strength of the performance. We increased our revenues by 15% to also a record $38 billion. And as you can see, we got a pretty good leverage in terms of margin since we increased our profitability, which we measure by operational EBITDA, by 25% to reach a level of $6 billion, which is an improvement in terms of margin of 0.5%. We were also quite good at generating cash, $3.6 billion, a bit less than last year, but still an excellent performance. And that has also given us all the motivation to also share back this prosperity with you and to increase our dividend by 8% to the amount now of 65 Swiss cents. If we look in terms of demand, where did we sell, where did we do good last year? Obviously 2 areas of the world have been very good for us. On the left side, first of all, the Americas. You see we were up 50%. Obviously, part of that increase was due to the acquisition of Baldor, but even if we exclude Baldor, you see that in the US, for instance, organically, we have grown by 21%. That confirms again the recovery of the US economy. We were also up 20% in Brazil. Then if we go on the right side of this map, you see Asia, Asia was up 32%. It was a very good year in China, where we were up 17%. But also, as you can see, India is our center of expertise for HVDC, so people have been extremely involved in the design and the development of the technology, and will be on the ground as well to make this project a success. Very important for ABB. A second good example, and there's also a lot of work that we do in Sweden of that, is really the development of the DC technology, direct current technology, that we're really trying to use to revolutionize a little bit electrical installation in different kind of environment, and basically provide energy efficiency, and by that helping a little bit to fight climate change. We have, for instance, come up with solutions to provide DC energy into data centers. You know, data centers for software and computers is one of the biggest consumers of electricity in the world. We think that with DC technology, we can really save a lot of this energy. And the same with ships. By being able to build a DC network within large ships like yachts or ferries, we can in fact really reduce the energy consumption, let the ship engine operate at what is best, not to make sure that all the lights and the machinery works, but to just operate the engine for the propulsion at the right speed, and thereby sometimes saving up to 30% of the huge consumption that the ships can have. So you see how technology can shape things differently, and we are very interested to continue investing in technology. And again, Sweden for us is really key for that. This is where the knowledge is, and we keep investing very heavily in this country to continue developing this expertise. We've also made, as I said, a lot of acquisition in 2011. I've listed here the 8th largest one. There were even others, but these were the more important ones. All these acquisitions were made in line with a strategy that was either geographic, product, service, or trying to serve a specific industry. You see Baldo, that was our attempt to increase our share in industrial motors, where we had no presence in the United States because of different standards. That one is a very successful acquisition, working very well. Milcom was strengthening our position in terms of industrial software. Epion is addressing the area of e-mobility with technology of fast charging batteries for electric cars. Lorenz and Vetre, for instance, is really an acquisition in the domain of pulp and paper. Swedish-based company, but 80% global, and so that is really in line with what ABB is intending to do. And we have announced early 2012 an agreement to buy Thomas & Betts, which is another American company in the low voltage area, and an acquisition that we expect to close during this quarter, still before the end of June. So this is one of the major developments of 2011. As I said, we announced 2 days ago our 2012 results. I would say they were decent. I would not, as the CFO, say they were fantastic, and they have a little bit disappointed the street, we have to say so. You see that we were 2% in terms of order, 8% in terms of revenues, organic was 6%. We have a fantastic order backlog. It starts growing. You know, we have $30 billion of orders in the backlog that we have to work on for the future. So that is obviously very good for the confidence. But we have also seen a certain erosion in the margins, and that is because the industry is moving so fast and at so different paces. And so for us, for instance, the biggest challenge we had in this first quarter were the developments in China and in southern part of Europe. For instance, China is our number 2 market, Italy is our number 5 market. These 2 markets in the first quarter were down 30%. This is as important the recession you can sometimes see. It is not all over the board like China. It is very specific segments like constructions, like rail transportation, like nuclear. But this is also where exactly we have this very highly sophisticated product that can help there with a lot of technology and obviously good margins. So when these markets disappear, you feel it right away. We're still optimistic it will come back. You know, China is still pretty ambitious growth plans for the future. Italy obviously has to digest all the debt crisis that they go through. The strength again, we have to develop new markets, develop new product offering to try to offset this temporary weakness. And so even if that was a little bit of a disappointment, we remain quite optimistic for the rest of the year and still look forward to deliver better results in 2012. So if I try to summarize what happened here, so mixed picture, problems in China and Italy, short cycle businesses like low voltage products, quite challenged from a margin and from a volume perspective too, but still we had other business like discrete automation, like process automation that addresses segments like oil and gas, like minerals that are still doing extremely well, and that is where we continue evolving for the future. We remain quite cautious about the outlook, because nor you nor me know really when China is going to accelerate again, so we kind of like to speak the truth, and if we don't know, we prefer to say it than overselling something that we don't control. What we control obviously is our cost structure, and if the market doesn't come back, we'll have to adjust the market again to make sure we deliver in line with expectations.